Hello everyone, this is Federico from Wave Motion Recordings and welcome back to my channel. So lately I haven't been posting many videos about plugins and gear because I was super busy with production work in the studio, but I'll try to be more consistent from now on. So if you want to see more videos like this one, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment and stay tuned in the next few weeks. So today we are checking out 5 drum kits by Panda Sound. If you're not familiar with Panda Sound, it's an online store that sells resources for producers. So they have drum kits, guitar impulse responses, guitar presets, MIDI bass, effects and all kind of stuff, so go check it out. Today we have the Mankind Grief kit, the Revenge the Fate kit, Sentinel Kit, Shokran kit and the Korea kit. I'll let you hear how each of them sounds and then I'm gonna play with the built-in effects and faders a little bit. So first of all, the layout is very simple, very similar for all the drum kits we have here. So we have faders for each channel, the pan knob, solo mute and phase inversion button. Then we can go down here and select which microphone we want the fader to control, so we can create our own collection of channels, which is pretty cool. Here we have the drum up section and there are a few very useful presets. So for example, if you're writing your songs in Guitar Pro, you might want to use the Guitar Pro drum mapping. I am very familiar with Superior Drummer, so I will use this one. But this is very cool because it's already got the drum map for most major libraries, so that's nice. And of course you can change the note that is associated with each specific part of the kit. In some of the libraries you will see that some samples are actually off. That means that they were not sampled and they can be used for that kit, unfortunately. Now let's check out the advanced panel. So you basically have advanced controls for all your channels. You have a velocity randomizer, a time randomizer, send to a tape saturator, so if you want to make things sound bigger quickly, you can use this one. And then we have on the room a high pass filter, again the tape saturator send. And dump works basically as a drum damper, so it makes things sound a bit darker and more muffled. So that's basically it for the overall layout, and as I said, they're all very similar, so once you figured out how to use one of them, you're gonna be able to use all of them pretty much in the same way. Again, not all of these drum libraries have the same articulations, because drum kits may have different kit pieces or maybe they were sampled in a different way. So for example, the Korea kit just has 2 tones instead of 3 like most of the other ones, and I adapted the MIDI patterns that I'm gonna play in just a second to fit each specific kit. Now I'm gonna play all the raw drum kit sounds. So this is the way they sound when you load them up in Kontakt. I didn't even change a single thing, I didn't touch faders or anything. So this is what you get when you buy them. So as you can hear, they all sound quite different from each other. For example, the Mankind Grief sounds like the most natural one to my ear. And then we have Revenge the Fate kit, which is obviously more processed. Just take a listen to how big the low end is on the kit. I'm not the biggest fan of the kick actually, because I think it lacks some clarity and definition, but I really like this snare sample because it has nice ambience to it. Next we have the Sentinel Kit, which has more attack and transient. Again, very nice snare sample in my opinion. Next we have the Shokran kit, which is the most heavily processed one. And then we have the Korea kit. I really like this kick sound, and I think the Korea kit has the best cymbals among these 5 drum libraries. Alright, so this is how they sound like when you load them up in Kontakt, and I did some rebalancing with just the internal mixer and effects, so they should sound a bit more balanced right now. Cool, so now let's hear how they sound like with guitars and bass. This is actually not a full mix because to make it a full mix I will need to process each drum kit individually, but I think that if you clicked on this video that's because you're interested in one of these libraries, and I think it's more fair to let you hear how the actual libraries sound like instead of my mix, because of course you will mix them in a different way. So here we go. Okay, so when hearing them in a musical context, my perception is a bit different. So for example, the snare for the Revenge kit doesn't really cut through as I thought it would. The Sentinel Kit snare instead is actually pretty awesome, whereas the kick is a bit dry, but I think the Sentinel Kit is really cool. My favorite overall has got to be the Korea kit because it has the best cymbals, and kick and snare, pretty great. Then the Mankind Griff kit is still very balanced. You know, I think it's gonna take processing really well. The Revenge the Fate and Shokran kits, as I said, are the most processed ones, and if you're going for a very thick mix, then these are good choices. Yeah, toms sound very cool in the Shokran kit. Now let's hear the individual kit pieces and see how they react with different velocities. Some of them might need to be humanized a bit more, so let's see if the randomizer they have does something cool. So for example, in the Korea kit, let's go check out the velocity randomizer. Let's put everything to 0 and see how it's like. Max it out. So, okay, it's a bit better. Now let's move on to the snares. course, some of them are more dynamic than others. For example, the Revenge the Fate and Shokran kits, being as processed and as compressed and saturated as they are, they're not as dynamic on the ghost notes especially. But the other ones are pretty good. I really like the Sentinel Kit snare actually, because it's very snappy and has a very cool transient, and as we heard, it's cutting through the mix really well. As far as individual snares go, I think this one is my favorite. Let's move on to toms. They all sound very different from each other, but they can all fit different contexts, so I think the toms are pretty cool in general. Let's move on to hi-hats. The hi-hats sound very different as well. The Revenge the Fate kit is probably the most roomy. The Shokran kit is actually quite dry, but it's missing the semi-open articulation. The Korea kit, even though it's the kit where I like the cymbals the most, I'm not the biggest fan of the hi-hat. I don't know, I just prefer the other hi-hats. So let's move on to the overall cymbals. Okay, that's it. So I think each one of these 5 drum kits has something cool. For example, I love the Sentinel snare, I love the Korea kick, crash cymbals, and the ride. I like the fact that Mankind Grief gives you a bit more flexibility in the mix since it's not as processed, and Revenge the Fate and Shokran are pretty much mix ready if you want a very thick mix. So I think they're all cool for different reasons, but I want to know which one you guys like the most, so please leave a comment, and if you like the video, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.